Stephen Chbosky once wrote in The Perks of Being a Wallflower something that I used to think was just a pretty quote, until I realized it had been quietly exposing the truth about my own life. I had been unconsciously rejecting every person who genuinely loved me while chasing people who treated me like an option. If that hits a little too close to home, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because what I'm about to share could completely change how you see love forever. Let me tell you about Sarah. Sarah came to me last month, tears streaming down her face, sitting in my office after just breaking up with Mark. Mark, by almost every measure, seemed perfect. He remembered the little details she mentioned. He planned thoughtful dates. He communicated openly about his feelings. He introduced her to his family after only 3 months, and he never once made her question her place in his life. "So why am I sitting here, heartbroken, after being with someone like him?" she asked, dabbing at her tears with a tissue. It just felt wrong. Where were the butterflies? Where was the excitement? Where was the fire? Sarah looked at me with desperation in her eyes and said, "Dr. Patterson, I just didn't feel anything. Shouldn't love feel like more?" And then it hit me. Sarah wasn't broken. She wasn't incapable of love. Her nervous system was functioning exactly as it had been trained to for 28 years. It was protecting her from what it perceived as danger, and the danger, in her mind, was safety. Here is the thing nobody tells you about healthy love. If you've spent your life in survival mode, peace feels like the calm before a storm. If you've been conditioned to fight for affection, receiving it freely can feel like a trap. When your brain has equated passion with pain, stability can feel like death. Sarah grew up in a home where love came with conditions. Good grades earned hugs. Misbehavior earned the silent treatment. Her father was physically present, but emotionally absent. So Sarah learned early that love was something she had to earn, something that could vanish at any moment, something she had to fight to keep. Fast forward to her adult dating life. Every man who was inconsistent, every relationship where she had to decode mixed signals and fight for attention, felt like home. Not because they were good, but because they were familiar. Her nervous system had learned that uncertainty equals love, chaos equals passion, anxiety equals attraction. Then came Mark. Mark was different. When he said he would call, he called. When he made plans, he kept them. When he said he cared, his actions matched his words, and Sarah's trauma-trained brain didn't know how to handle it. It waited, braced for the other shoe to drop. When it didn't, when Mark remained consistent and kind, her nervous system began sounding alarms. Something is wrong. This is too easy. This cannot be real. And the cruelest part? She called it no chemistry. She told friends she wasn't feeling it. She convinced herself she was settling. What she was actually experiencing was culture shock. The culture of healthy love felt completely foreign to her. Millions of people are going through the exact same thing right now. You sit there wondering why the good ones feel boring. You question yourself for not feeling fireworks with someone who treats you well. You sabotage relationships that could actually be safe because your brain keeps scanning for chaos, the only thing it knows. Here as what is happening in your nervous system when you meet someone emotionally available. Your amygdala, the brain's alarm system, has been programmed by every relationship you've witnessed and experienced. If your parents fought and made up repeatedly, your brain learned that volatility equals love. If affection had to be earned, your brain learned love is conditional. If the adults in your life were inconsistent, your brain learned that uncertainty is normal. So when someone shows up steady, reliable, kind, your amygdala doesn't know what to do. It starts sending signals. This person is too available. Something is off. Where's the challenge? Where's the drama? This does not feel like love. Here's the truth. What your brain calls love in these chaotic, inconsistent relationships is actually addiction. When someone pulls away, then returns, your brain releases dopamine, the same chemical that fuels gambling addiction. The intermittent reinforcement is intoxicating. When they finally give attention, it hits like a drug. You think it's love, but it's relief from emotional starvation. Real love doesn't work that way. Real love is consistent, available, predictable. It calms your nervous system. It doesn't keep you guessing. It offers security. It doesn't demand performance. It gives unconditional positive regard. If you've never experienced that before, it will feel boring. It will feel like settling. It will feel wrong, like comparing a nourishing meal to junk food and wondering where all the instant gratification went. But here's the revolutionary part. When you push through that discomfort, when you stay in a relationship that doesn't trigger your trauma, you discover intimacy. Real intimacy. You start noticing the small, meaningful gestures, the coffee in the morning without asking, the listening without judgment, the way they remember your dreams, the way they hold space for your emotions, the way they show up even when you aren't at your best. This is love. Not dramatic, explosive highs and lows, not addictive, not painful. Love is a verb, a choice, a daily commitment, not just a feeling. Love allows you to be yourself without fear of abandonment. Love grows in security, not insecurity. Love sparks from peace, not chaos. 6 months later, Sarah came back to me. She reached out to Mark, apologized for her confusion, and shared what she had learned about herself. They took it slow. She did therapy to understand her patterns. And guess what? She started to feel chemistry, not the anxious, addictive chemistry of her past, but the deep, nourishing chemistry of being truly known and loved. She told me, "I thought love was supposed to hurt. I thought if it didn't hurt, it wasn't real. But now I understand. Love is not supposed to hurt. Healing hurts. Love is what happens after the healing. So if you've been sabotaging relationships that feel stable, if you've been chasing emotional unavailability thinking it's passion, if you've rejected consistency thinking it's settling, consider this. What feels boring might actually be your nervous system finally resting. What feels like settling might actually be leveling up. What feels like lack of chemistry might actually be safety. The most radical choice you can make is to choose the love that feels boring. Stay with the person who shows up. Give relationships that don't trigger your trauma a real chance. Choose healing over familiar pain. Choose peace over chaos. Choose the love you think you don't deserve until you realize you've deserved it all along. The love you're searching for isn't in chaos. It's in calm. It isn't in uncertainty. It's in security. It isn't in drama. It's in peace. And once you experience real love, you'll never want to return to the counterfeit version again. If Sarah's story resonates with you, leave a comment below and share your experience. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. And make sure to subscribe to NS Stoic Wisdom, because this journey of breaking generational patterns and discovering the love you deserve is just getting started.